It's good to have enemies that you hate. Cheap ones, even ones that seem to go against the game's mechanics. Have you ever watched games done quick when they play a game that has a really messed up boss fight that used to torture kids back in the 90s? And a speedrunner gets into a nail-biting fight live in front of thousands of people, and you can hear the hype in the crowd when they take them down. That's inspired by pure hate. If you personally think the Marauder is boring to fight, fine, say he's boring. I think the Baron is boring. I don't particularly enjoy having to empty so much ammo into him. I think it slows down the fight, but it's okay. He's a bully. He makes me think differently and reevaluate the room. I wouldn't change him. Come to think of it, the Baron was boring in the original Doom 2, Doom 2 too. How many shotgun blasts do you have to put into this guy to take him down? Like 100? So yeah, say the Marauder is boring, but I hear a lot about him being bad design because you can't fight him like every other enemy because he has a shield. If anything, he's great design, because mastering the mechanics of Doom Eternal is what takes him down. What does Doom Eternal want you to do? Move and react quickly. Anticipate and dodge projectiles. Learn enemy attack patterns. Prioritize high threats. Pick your fights intelligently. Stay on your feet. Use appropriate weapons for the moment. Quickly switch weapons to increase damage output. Use explosives to falter enemies. The Marauder puts your understanding of all of Doom's mechanics to the test. He doesn't contradict them, he demands full use of them. If a Marauder is coming at you and you meat hook away, heat blast the dog, backdash away from his melee attack into a ballista shotgun combo, maybe with a grenade mixed in to falter him for another combo, you are playing Doom Eternal and showing that you've learned what they've taught you. If after all that you still think it's boring, fine, I think that's a shame, and it could be fixed with a change of perspective and maybe playstyle. But okay. The criticism I keep hearing is that he ruins the game because you have to stop playing Doom, and you have to play the Marauder's game. I suppose that's up to personal taste because I love playing his game, and judging by the support of my first video, plenty of other people do too. Not only do I disagree that the Marauder goes against the design of Doom Eternal, but even if I did agree, I feel like I'd have to say he's not the only one. The Carcass putting shields in your face, forcing you to be cautious with your rockets, blocking your glory kills. Is that not a bit counter to the classic rip and tear design? He's one of my favorite enemies. I keep hearing that the Marauder is bad because he makes you back away from him instead of charging forward, and that Doom should always make you want to push forward. Backing away and being defensive is completely counter to Doom's combat philosophy, they say. What about cyber demons? Are you running up and shotgunning them right away? What about the Mancubus being better to engage from afar until he's weak enough to approach? Is that not discouraging you from always pushing forward? And I don't know about you, but when a Baron comes around the corner, I have to back off because they don't falter easily and they have massive health pools. The Marauder isn't the only demon that makes you play cautiously. It's to a higher degree for sure, but I think their larger requirement of caution is complemented by their high movement speed and chaotic nature in groups to make for a fun encounter. My point is, there are several enemies that encourage defensive strategic play. Doom Eternal is a more tactical game. Some will say that's why 2016 is better. It's why I say Eternal is better. And the whole talking point that you have to back away from the Marauder and stop playing Doom is totally false. Let me again sing the praises of the remote detonation mod. Look at this, I can jump around like a kid on a trampoline, detonate rockets behind him to stun him, and then hit him with a ballista or super shotgun, and you can drop a grenade after a rocket and then combo him. Having fun with the Marauder is your decision. If you think he's boring, I think it's because you choose to believe he is. You also don't have to exclusively fight the Marauder. I think it's fun to get sporadic hits on him while I'm fighting a group of enemies. You can dodge him and focus on other demons, but not completely ignoring him either. I like to keep an eye on him. I'll run over here to smack around some fools, and when he comes in, I'll tag him with a quick combo, fly out and take out someone else. It keeps me on my toes and really gets the blood pumping. I'm trying to make a point here, there's more than one way to approach this guy. That doesn't make him boring, that makes him dynamic. Now we gotta talk about the tutorial, the supposed gotcha moment that people are using against my video. I criticized certain critics for falsely stating that you're supposed to stand at mid-range to fight the Marauder. I couldn't tell you how many people commented, the tutorial literally tells you to stand at mid-range. So let's check the tutorial. The Marauder is a defensive powerhouse. Stand too close, he uses his shotgun. Stand too far away, he throws projectiles. Keep him at mid-range. Counter his attacks when his eyes flash green, otherwise he blocks your shots. the Marauder is resistant to super weapons. It says keep him at mid-range, not stand at mid-range, and that's exactly right. The last thing Doom wants you to do is stand still. That was my criticism. You're not supposed to stand there, and because of his erratic mobility, you need to figure out how to keep him at mid-range. It doesn't say to just barely try to stay within a margin of space, swaying back and forth. You have to figure out how this mid-range game works. And mid-range is apparently something some people can't understand. They think it means right here. It doesn't. It means here. Mid-range is entirely determined by the game you're playing and by an enemy's mobility options and speed. He's super mobile, so mid-range is further than you think. If this were a fighting game, people might think sweep distance is mid-range, when it's actually outside of it, right around here. You have to figure this out, I'm sorry. The game isn't going to put a graph in the tutorial to explain what mid-range distance is. And he's too fast to just dance in and out of mid-range. So you either gotta figure that out or keep butting heads with him. Honestly, that's what I did. I played stupid against him for the first few encounters until I got the hang of it, and then I started to find the fights thrilling. You start to understand that backing off a little bit can cause him to put himself at mid-range. And apparently this fact pisses people off because plenty have also complained that he shoots projectiles if you're far from him. But Mayo, how are we supposed to know to try backing further away from him to bait his attack? The tutorial says that he shoots projectiles at you if you're too far away. So, you've gone 7 levels of dealing with the Mancubus and Cacodemons and Arachnotrons shooting endless projectiles at you, and you can't deal with a couple of sidesteppable axes thrown at you from across the room? The fact that he throws projectiles at you when you're far away doesn't mean you can't experiment with stepping into long-range space. The tutorial doesn't say don't stay far from him because he has a one-hit kill undodgeable projectile. It just warns you of what his attack patterns are, and people are acting like this is some kind of misleading information that prohibits them from experimenting and trying different strategies. What they're really upset about is that the tutorial doesn't tell you literally everything about the enemy. And I find it funny that the people who complain that Doom Eternal has too many optional tutorial messages are probably the same ones saying that the Marauder tutorial doesn't give you enough information. They want no tutorials because it doesn't let you figure out the fight for yourself, but they're upset that they had to figure out the Marauder fight for themselves. Their version of a tutorial would look like this. The Marauder is a defensive powerhouse. Stand too close, he uses his shotgun. Close is basically within your own super shotgun range. Stand too far away, he throws projectiles. But don't let that scare you, you can dodge those projectiles and try to bait his attacks from far away. Keep him at mid-range, counter his attack when his eyes flash green. Mid-range is further than you think. Keep in mind that you have a lot of space to work with in Doom Eternal. You don't have to stand still in this range. It may take some time to understand how he moves so you can work with this range. He blocks your shots that come from the front with a shield, and that spawns a dog which attacks you. Some weapons can damage him, like remote detonation rockets, or rockets or sticky bombs at his feet. You can also hit him during his projectile animation. The Marauder is resistant to super weapons, but if you shoot the BFG in the air, he exposes his back to you. And if you stun him right away, you can interrupt an attack animation with the BFG as well. If you explained everything in the tutorial, it would take up half the screen. And then you know what? People would complain about that too. The tutorial tells me too much. The tutorial doesn't tell me everything. Why are there so many tutorials? I need more tutorials. I'm done with this. I can kind of understand the bad takes from reviewers who rush to publish their first impressions in the first few days of a game. They're fine, forgotten. But it's been over a month now, and there are still people complaining about the Marauder. Just check the comments section. You've been playing the game for a month and you're still upset about him? Man, call a doctor or something, cause I don't know what's up with you. I'm sorry you had a bad time with this enemy, I really am. I love Doom with all my heart, and I really want other people to love it as much as I do, and it sucks to hear people having problems with it. If you're upset about glitches, or story, or even the platforming, okay, but I'm not budging on this one. Your enjoyment of the Marauder is entirely up to you, and I hope that even for maybe a fraction of the people watching this video, you can pick up the game and let your prejudices go and learn to tango with the Marauder, because I may have 2 left feet on the dance floor, but I can dance with this guy all night. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe and all that, follow me on Twitter, and I will see you in the next video where I will be discussing my personal playstyle.
so good at that. That's right in your face.